I am actually losing my mind today. Like, what do Tantric yoga, a multi-million-dollar commercial tractor, and a Victorian widow pacing back and forth by a fireplace all have in common?
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Right. They're literally all tools of emotional manipulation used by men trying to avoid making a genuine romantic decision on national television. I am screaming. Today, we are unpacking the absolute emotional theater of Farmer Wants a Wife and honestly breaking down why these country boys are waving massive red flags.
Snark Squad, unite. It's the middle of the week, babes, and the vibes might be low, but babes, we are here, and we are diving headfirst into this mess because what we witnessed on those farms wasn't just entertaining, it was a masterclass in avoidant attachment.
Babes, we have our iced lemonade and vodka on deck tonight, and honestly, looking at all the drinks we've been making lately, we are literally about to have the summer of our dreams.
Cheers to that, honestly.
I can feel the seasonal shift. Like, the iced vodka lemonade is giving hydration, but more importantly, is providing the sheer delusion I need to just, survive the rest of this Wednesday.
Oh, it is the official elixir of midweek survival. But wait, before we get into the farmers, we have to talk about the delusion of our summer planning.
Oh my gosh, yes. Do not even get me started.
Because right now, treating our upcoming summer plans like some sort of aesthetic manifestation board has essentially become a full-time job.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
I am already emotionally attached to summer memories that literally haven't even happened yet.
You're living in future nostalgia, like right now?
Yes. I'm already imagining the rooftop drinks, the cottage weekends, patio nights with string lights. I am actively pretending that this specific summer will somehow heal me emotionally from the entire winter, and I don't even have the itinerary finalized.
Which is, the total paradox of modern relaxation. The preparation required to actually relax just sends our cortisol levels through the roof. It's an exhausting cycle.
It really is. Speaking of which, we've been looking at Airbnb listings all week, trying to find a cottage for our July 4th party. And, babes, it is emotionally exhausting.
Beyond exhausting. I'm ready to give up.
You look at the prices,
Yeah.
and it's absolute extortion for a cabin without central air. And the betrayals. Every single listing looks so cute it's giving pure cottagecore aesthetic until you scroll down to the reviews and realize the host has a Ring camera pointing directly at the hot tub.
The short-term rental market is a lawless wasteland.
Literally lawless.
But, the real friction isn't even the cleaning fees, it's the social engineering. We're trying to find something fun that actually works for our mothers and our extended family.
Which is impossible.
Right. And planning parties for our mothers is honestly insane because, babes, our mothers are both narcissists.
They are. We know it. The Snark Squad knows it. The universe knows it. The family group chats right now are just a hostile environment.
Every single text is an emotional trap.
Exactly. You suggest a cabin by the lake, and instantly it's a passive-aggressive comment about mosquitoes. You suggest a house with a pool, and suddenly you're, ignoring the fact that Aunt Susan doesn't swim. You literally cannot win.
The group chat is a digital battlefield of passive-aggressive chaos. Surviving those threads requires so much strategy. And to compound all of this, the work week is almost done, but babes, we still have a few days left.
A few very long days. For those who might be new to the squad, we live dual lives. By night, we are reality TV relationship analysts, obviously. But by day, we are both dentists at separate practices.
Yes, unfortunately, we have to put on scrubs and pretend to be fully functioning adults.
And the upcoming workday is already haunting me. Highs for today, coffee, obviously. My funny coworkers who keep me sane, the cute scrub outfits that give me a false sense of authority, and just surviving the day emotionally.
She's barely surviving.
Barely. I am emotionally hanging on by iced coffee and pure delusion. What about you?
I am literally one minor inconvenience away from abandoning the practice entirely and moving to Italy to, stomp grapes or something.
Take me with you, please.
The lows of dentistry are just soul-crushing right now. The sheer exhaustion of the schedule, the technology problems. Why does the software always crash right when I have an incredibly anxious patient in the chair?
Oh, it knows. The software smells fear.
It really does. And the pretending, the absolute drain of pretending to have high energy while your patient is telling you a deeply traumatic life story, and you literally have a mirror and a staler in their mouth.
Adulthood is just questioning your life choices by noon every single day.
Honestly.
But right before coming to the studio, we did get a heavy dose of perspective. We visited our OG Snark queens, Joan and Felicia, at the retirement home. And babes, it was a beautiful mess.
We think reality TV has drama, but it is child's play compared to the third floor of a senior living facility.
Child's play.
The savage gossip among those residents is unmatched. They have zero filter left.
Joan and Felicia were spilling so much tea. Joan was, like, chronicling the absolute scandal of a resident named Arthur, who's apparently double-dipping at the communal buffet.
Arthur is a menace.
A menace. And Felicia is waging a psychological war against a night nurse she suspects of stealing her premium hand lotion. It was so grounding to see them and just laugh at the chaos.
It really was. It's the perfect microcosm of human behavior, which honestly transitions us perfectly into our main event. Because Joan and Felicia's buffet drama has absolutely nothing on the interpersonal warfare happening on these farms right now.
Nothing. Joan and Felicia have nothing on these girls fighting for a farmer. We are unpacking Season 4, Episode 6, titled Steamy Romantic, and the producers entirely flipped the script this week.
He really did. Let's analyze the stakes here, because the structural change of the game is what drove all the erratic behavior we saw.
Yeah, lay it out.
So we're entering the end game. Next week is the dreaded meet the parents phase. To get there, the farmers had to narrow their dating pools from 3 women down to the final 2.
Which is a huge cut.
Massive. But to make this decision, the power dynamic was completely inverted. The women planned anonymous, steamy, one-on-one dates, and the farmers had to blindly pick an option from a card without knowing who was waiting for them.
Stripping the control away from the farmers. I loved it so much. But let's look at how that actually played out. Let's start with Brett Maverick. Because he gave us a textbook example of a man who refuses to do the hard work of a breakup.
Let's break down the environment on Farm 1. Brett started the episode with Hannah Carpenter, Quinn Guterman, and Sophia Blake.
Right.
But before any of these anonymous dates can even occur, the tension just implodes. Sophia sits Brett down and self-eliminates.
I was literally yelling at my screen. Sophia essentially dumped herself. She looked at him and articulated that she felt their connection just wasn't as strong as what he had with Hannah and Quinn.
Which was incredibly perceptive of her.
Totally right. It takes so much self-awareness to recognize you are the third wheel in a televised romantic triangle and just, pack your bags.
It shows immense emotional intelligence. But I want to focus on Brett's reaction, which was a masterclass in the freeze response.
Oh my gosh, he gave us absolutely nothing.
Nothing. When confronted with her departure, he didn't protest, he didn't ask questions, he just sat there in utter deafening silence.
He was just blinking at her. Like his brain had completely buffered and lost the Wi-Fi signal.
Right, and this isn't just awkwardness. Psychologically, he's basically outsourcing the emotional labor. By refusing to engage, he forced Sophia to fill the silence.
Oh, wow.
She had to keep talking, essentially talking herself into leaving, which did all the heavy lifting for him. He was internally relieved because her self-awareness saved him from having to be the bad guy.
Quiet quitting the relationship.
Exactly. He quiet quit and let her handle the logistics of her own breakup.
You could literally see the tension leave his shoulders. He didn't have to agonize. But his silence proved her point. If a man won't even muster a please stay or a let's talk about this, it just confirms you were making the right choice by leaving.
Exactly. So through sheer passivity, Brett's dating pool is magically slashed to his final 2, Hannah and Quinn, which significantly lowers the stakes for his blind date.
He didn't even have to do anything.
Right. He doesn't have to eliminate anyone based on this date. He just has to show up, and he blindly chooses Quinn's date.
Oh, Quinn. Babes, she planned a blindfolded dessert taste test. I lost it.
It was so hard to watch.
The visual of Brett sitting there, blindfolded, with his mouth wide open like a baby bird waiting for a worm, while Quinn teases him with cake. I was unwell.
The visual was deeply uncomfortable, but we need to look at why it was uncomfortable. Quinn was attempting to manufacture intimacy through sensory deprivation.
Which is true.
It's a huge choice.
Yeah.
The idea is that if you remove sight, you heighten trust and physical awareness. But that only works if a baseline of trust already exists.
Which it clearly didn't. Before they even started, Brett basically threatened to freak out if she put anything weird in his mouth. If you are going into a romantic date, terrified that this woman is going to prank you with a raw onion, where is the foundation?
There is no foundation. His brain wasn't interpreting the blindfold as a romantic surrender. It was interpreting it as a loss of control. He was in survival mode.
Not romantic mode at all.
No. In his confessional, he flat out admitted that playing naked paintball would have been less embarrassing to do on national television.
Naked paintball. But wait, this brings up a crucial question for you. If a guy blindfolds you on a first or second date to feed you cake, Are you swooning or are you calling an Uber?
Oh, I am opening the app, selecting comfort, and fleeing the premises immediately.
Same. Get me out of there.
I don't want anyone near my mouth with mystery food. It is a choking hazard, not a romance novel. But more importantly, it highlights a fatal flaw in their dynamic. Quinn was trying to force a steamy television moment, and Brett was just trying to survive it.
They did end up having a whole makeout session afterward, though. But it felt so disjointed to me.
It felt very performative.
Yeah, it felt like they were just passing time and playing the reality TV game until the family visits next week.
It was the definition of artificial connection, which provides a fascinating contrast to the strategy we saw deployed on Braden Pridemore's farm.
Let's shift to Farm 2, because Braden's farm is out in the absolute middle of nowhere. It's incredibly remote. He starts with Brittany Graham, Cameron McIntosh, and Casey Reimer. And he blindly picks Casey's date.
Now, from an analytical perspective, Casey played this brilliantly.
He really did.
The prompt was steamy romantic, but she totally subverted it. She planned a wholesome baking date to share her family's thumbprint cookie recipe.
It was so cute. They were just standing in the kitchen, measuring flour.
It seems simple, but it is strategic genius. Think about the timeline, right? Next week is Meet the Parents. By bringing him into the kitchen and sharing a generational family recipe, she is utilizing sociological signaling.
Oh, I like that term.
She isn't just saying, I like you. She is demonstrating domestic compatibility. She's signaling, this is the culture of my family, and this is how seamlessly I can integrate into yours.
That makes so much sense. It's like low-stakes physical intimacy, but high-stakes emotional intimacy. But wait, before she got to bake the cookies, Braden pulled a stunt that had me absolutely reeling.
Oh, the tractor incident.
Yes. He takes her out to the field and makes her start hand-tilling the soil with a hand tool, breaking up the dirt by herself.
Yes, and I want to hear your take on this, because one of the other girls watching from the porch literally said, shouldn't AI be doing this by now?
Honestly, the most valid critique of manual labor I have ever heard. I was dying laughing.
It was a very fair point.
Casey is out there sweating, trying to prove her worth as a pioneer woman, and then Braden just casually rolls up in this massive commercial tractor with a huge tillage attachment on the back, basically saying, just kidding, I'm not Amish. I swooned, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was hilarious.
See, I'm going to push back on the swooning here.
Really? What?
We need to analyze what this actually is. In the dating world, this is a shit test.
Oh, wow. You think so?
Absolutely. He engineered a scenario of unnecessary struggle to test her attitude and compliance before revealing his actual resources. It's a manipulative way of assessing if someone is, quote-unquote, tough enough for you.
You really think it was manipulative? I just saw it as playful teasing. Like they have that kind of banter.
It can be both playful and a test, but it reinforces a very specific dynamic where the farmer holds the power and the woman must prove her resilience through physical struggle.
Okay, that's fair.
However, I will concede that Braden possesses a level of self-awareness the other men lack.
He really does. The moment that solidified him for me was when they were hanging out by the tractor and they sneak a kiss. They genuinely thought they were out of frame, hiding from the producers.
But they weren't.
No, the camera crew caught it. And instead of getting awkward or mad, Braden just looks directly at the lens, grins, and says, well done, boys.
That was a phenomenal moment of breaking the fourth wall. It showed a grounded maturity. He wasn't threatened by the artificial environment of the show. He just tipped his hat to the crew.
Exactly. And that same emotional maturity was on full display during the elimination dinner.
Because unlike Brett, Braden actually had to eliminate someone. He had to cut his final 3 down to 2, and he chose to send Cameron home.
If you want a masterclass in how to handle a breakup with dignity, look at Braden.
Oh, completely.
He sat at the head of the dinner table, and yes, you could see the nervous anticipation. But when it was time to speak to Cameron, he was direct, he was respectful, and he didn't use bizarre jargon.
He was so clear. Cameron had mentioned earlier in the season that it takes her longer to open up emotionally.
And let's be real, on a show with a 6-week timeline, being a slow burn is a death sentence.
It really is. Braden recognized that, and he just kindly told her he wanted to bring peace and not pressure.
I was amazed. Is this man a farmer or a licensed therapist?
Seriously. He communicated boundaries so clearly, which is incredibly rare on television. But the grace of Braden's farm only highlights the absolute psychological horror show that was taking place over on Farm 3.
Oh, Farm 3, the absolute chaos. I need to take a massive sip of my drink before we talk about Sean Cavanaugh's farm. Like, my heart rate elevates just thinking about it.
Hydrate, babes, because we have to unpack the cringe peak of the entire season.
Please. Take it away.
So Sean is down to Carson Higgins, Emily Rushnell, and Olivia Brown. Now, let's establish the baseline reality here. Emily has been a lock from day one.
Oh, 100%.
Their chemistry is undeniable. Therefore, this entire week is essentially an audition between Carson and Olivia for the runner-up spot.
Right. And Sean blindly picks Carson's date, which she decided should be tantric yoga.
Just horrifying.
Babes, she forces this man to take his shirt off in a freezing barn, and they are doing these intense, intertwined poses. She just keeps staring at him with these wild, unblinking eyes, repeatedly asking, "Can you feel the intimacy?"
It was an assault on the senses, and I'm not just being shady. The entire internet agrees.
Oh, they do.
The Reddit threads were melting down. YouTube reviewers were literally pausing their reaction videos because the secondhand embarrassment was too physically painful to endure.
It hurt to watch.
And even the agricultural news team at Lancaster Farming, who normally recap crop yields and tractor prices, called this the most horrifyingly awkward moment of the season.
When the Lancaster Farming reporters are calling out your forced television intimacy, you have crossed a major line. It was just so incredibly intense. She was trying so desperately to manufacture a spiritual bond in like 45 minutes just to secure her spot.
Let's examine why this fails so spectacularly. Tantric yoga is an ancient practice designed to build profound, energetic connection and core strength over years of trust.
Years.
Carson was attempting to compress years of spiritual vulnerability into a Tuesday afternoon on a television set, surrounded by boom mics and a camera crew.
Exactly. And Sean looked completely terrified. He was sweating. And it wasn't from the yoga poses. He looked like a hostage.
Yeah.
But somehow her chaotic strategy worked enough to completely scramble his brain.
Which led to the most agonizing elimination sequence I have ever seen.
The fireplace scene? Oh my God.
Yes, let's analyze the theater of Sean's decision-making process.
He paced in front of that roaring fireplace for what felt like 3 to 5 business days, just walking back and forth, staring deeply into the flames, wrestling with his absolute soul. I genuinely thought he was in physical pain over having to reject someone.
See, I am going to firmly challenge you on that.
Oh, why?
I do not believe for 1 second that his agony was genuine. This was performative suffering.
Wait, really? You think he was acting?
Absolutely. Think about the context. We all know Emily is his final choice. The viewers know it. The producers know it. Literally, the sheep in his pasture know it.
Okay, true.
The only decision he was making was who to eliminate between Olivia and Carson. But by pacing in front of that fire, he was giving us a Shakespearean tragedy. It was pure optics.
Yeah.
He wanted to visually demonstrate to the audience how deeply he feels things.
Okay, when you put it like that, I see it. He did look exactly like a Victorian widow waiting for her husband to return from the sea.
He was just missing a black lace veil.
Truly. He just wanted to go back to yoga, we all know it. But after hours of pacing, he finally makes his decision. He pulls Olivia aside to send her home. And I'm warned.
You were legitimately devastated by this exit.
I was. Because first of all, Olivia is gorgeous, she's intelligent, and some guy is going to be incredibly lucky to date her in the real world. But more importantly, her outfit.
The dress.
Yes. She wore this stunning floral dress with delicate strap details, and Reddit was absolutely obsessing over it. Nobody cared about Sean's feelings. Entire threads were just dedicated to finding the brand of that dress. And he sent her packing.
It was a tragic loss for the sartorial elegance of the show, but we have to dissect the actual breakup conversation, because Sean's choice of words was chilling.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
He looks at this beautiful woman and he says verbatim, "I must end off our connection."
What does that even mean? End off our connection. I screamed at the television.
It is the language of corporate human resources. It sounds like he is terminating a Wi-Fi contract with a difficult customer service representative. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I must end off our connection. Please return your router." Who speaks like that?
It is so stiff and weird. Just say, "I don't think we're a match," or "My heart is elsewhere."
Exactly.
But Olivia, to her credit, took it like a total champion. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. The other girls in the house feigned this performative sadness, which is so fake when you know their odds of winning just drastically increased.
Oh, they were thrilled.
But Olivia just accepted her Wi-Fi termination and left gracefully.
Which leaves Sean with Emily and Carson going into family week. The dynamic is set, and the tension is going to be exquisite. Which honestly brings us to our absolute favorite part of the show, the segment block.
Yes, we are kicking things off with segment 1, most likely to ghost after harvest season. This is where we debate which of these final couples feels the least believable long term. Who is packing their bags the second the cameras turn off?
I want you to start because I know you have very strong feelings about a specific pairing.
I am coming in incredibly hot on this one. I am firmly convinced that Sean and Carson are a fleeting showmance.
Yeah.
They're going to crash and burn, and it all comes back to the Tantric yoga.
You're blaming the yoga for their future demise. Walk me through the logic.
It's about misattribution of arousal.
Uh.
Carson brought this incredibly spicy, invasive date to shock his system. It was a Hail Mary pass to get a pitchfork or a rose or whatever the farming equivalent is.
A tractor tire.
Right. And it worked in the short term because it flooded his brain with adrenaline and confusion. But they don't have the natural, grounded banter that Braden and Casey have. After harvest season, when it's freezing cold and he's pacing by the fireplace for 2 hours, just trying to decide what's for breakfast, that adrenaline is going to fade. She is going to look at this indecisive man, realize the spiritual connection was an illusion, and she will ghost.
That is a very strong argument. Forced intimacy rarely translates to the mundane reality of folding laundry and paying taxes.
Never does.
However, I am going to respectfully disagree. The couple most likely to ghost is Brett and Quinn, and it comes down to avoidant attachment styles.
Really? Even after they had that whole makeout session?
Especially after that makeout session. Physical chemistry is the easiest way to mask massive red flags in the short term. Look at Brett's underlying emotional mechanics.
Okay, Leah.
We discussed his freeze response with Sophia. He cannot handle conflict or emotional heavy lifting. And with Quinn, his baseline reaction to her planning a surprise date was suspicion and a preemptive threat of a freakout.
That's true. You can't build a marriage if your first instinct is that your partner's trying to trick you.
Precisely. Quinn is going to get exhausted trying to pull a genuine emotional reaction out of a man who goes catatonic under pressure. The second the producer-driven adrenaline of the show fades, she is going to realize she's dating a very handsome brick wall. She will ghost him out of sheer emotional starvation.
Wow. The brick wall theory is devastatingly accurate. Okay, let's pivot to segment 2. Farm life or emotional prison? We have to debate which of these 3 farms we would actually survive living on in the real world.
This is a vital question for the Snark Squad because we all love to romanticize the pastoral aesthetic of farm life until the alarm goes off at 4 a.m.
Let me just establish my boundaries immediately.
Yeah.
I am completely rejecting Braden's farm. I know I praised his emotional maturity, but Bades, that farm is aggressively remote.
Remote!
And getting pranked with manual labor before I am allowed to eat a cookie is absolutely not the cottagecore summer vibe I am manifesting. I am entist. I work with my hands all day inside a sterile clinic. I am not coming home to hand-till the soil as a cute little joke.
You would fail the hand-tilling test spectacularly. You would immediately call an Uber to a dirt road and demand an extraction.
I would demand a helicopter medevac. I want the aesthetic of a farm, like wearing a cute sundress while holding a basket of organic tomatoes, not the grueling reality of agricultural labor.
Well, looking at it analytically, I have to examine Sean's farm, and my ruling is that Sean's farm is an emotional prison of indecision.
An emotional prison. Say more.
Think about the daily reality of living with that man. The property itself might be stunning, but you are trapped in a house with a man who suffers from chronic decision paralysis.
Oh, true.
If you ask him what to make for dinner, he will pace by the fireplace for 3 hours. If you ask him what color to paint the guest bathroom, he will stare deeply into the middle distance and tell you he must wrestle with his soul to find the answer.
You would be held hostage by his processing time. Like, honey, should we watch Netflix or Hulu tonight? And suddenly he's looking out the window like a Victorian widow mourning the loss of Blockbuster Video. I couldn't survive it.
Every minor domestic choice would be treated like a high-stakes summit at the United Nations. You would eventually lose your grip on reality.
I was spiral.
So neither of us are surviving the farm life. Good to know. Moving on to segment 3. Most delusional romantic. Who is falling way too hard, way too fast.
I have to point my finger right at Carson. Pulling out Tantric yoga to force a spiritual bond on national television is top-tier romantic delusion.
It really is.
She is acting like they have a cosmic soul tie connection just because they breathed in sync for 10 minutes in a dusty barn. It is deeply delusional to think that manufactured intensity is a substitute for actual long-term compatibility.
It is definitely delusional to think that, Sting's marital advice works on a reality TV production timeline. But I am actually going to point my finger away from the cast entirely and direct it at the fans on Reddit.
Oh, dragging the fans. We love to see it.
The fans who genuinely thought Olivia actually had a chance this week are the most delusional romantics of all. We are talking about parasocial delusion.
Oh, definitely.
If you understand how reality TV editing works, Emily has received the winner's edit from episode 1. But some of these Reddit sleuths were so emotionally invested in Olivia that they were tracking hair growth and root colors in confessional interviews, trying to prove an alternate timeline.
The Reddit sleuths tracking hair growth. It is unhinged behavior, and honestly, I respect their dedication so much. But you are right. A massive voting bloc was convinced Olivia was the endgame, which is pure romantic delusion. Sean has been locked on Emily since the jump.
Exactly. Which leads us perfectly into our final segment. Segment 4, Country Boy Red Flags. Inspired by the absolute mess of this episode, we need to create a rapid-fire list of behavioral red flags to watch out for, not just on television, but in real life.
I have my pen ready. The red flags were flying at full mast this week. Red flag number 1. Sitting in dead silence while a woman breaks up with you, purely because you are relieved you don't have to initiate the breakup yourself.
Ah, the Brett special.
Yes. Listeners, if you're dating a guy who lets you do all the emotional heavy lifting during a conflict and just blinks at you because your self-awareness saves him from feeling uncomfortable, run.
Run fast.
Do not walk, run. That is a man with zero emotional fortitude. He will quiet quit your relationship the second things get hard.
A phenomenal rule to live by. Red flag number 2. Using the phrase, end off our connection, like you are terminating a Wi-Fi contract.
The Sean special.
This applies to anyone who uses corporate HR jargon in an intimate setting. If a man breaks up with you sounding like an automated customer service chatbot, he is completely disconnected from his actual emotions. He is not dealing with you as a human being. He is managing a liability. Major red flag.
It's giving your employment as my girlfriend has been terminated. It's sociopathic behavior.
Okay.
Red flag number 3. Making a woman do intense manual labor just to test her attitude before revealing you own a multi-million-dollar machine that does the job in seconds.
The Braden maneuver.
Yes. I know we laughed about the tractor, but let's connect this to real-world dating. If a guy makes you struggle just to see if you have good attitude before he steps in to help, that is weirdly manipulative.
It is.
It is the dating equivalent of a shit test. If a man on Hinge designs an obstacle course to see if you are worthy of his time, he isn't looking for an equal partner. He's looking for a compliant employee. Just till the soil with the tractor and let's go eat thumbprint cookies.
The testing mentality is incredibly toxic. It establishes a hierarchy where you are constantly trying to prove your worth. An excellent, messy list of red flags to arm ourselves with.
So messy. But babes, that is exactly what we live for. The reality TV mess fuels us. It gives us the strength to face our own chaotic family group chats and our exhausting work weeks.
It absolutely does, and we want to sincerely thank the Snark Squad for hanging out with us through this midweek slump. We hope our iced lemonade and vodka delusion has brought you some clarity or at least some entertainment.
We love you guys so much. But before we let you go back to your day, we need you to hit the comments because we have 4 crucial questions for you based on everything we unpacked today.
Question 1. After seeing the reality of the emotional prisons, the avoidant brick walls, and the hand-tilling tests, would you ever actually date a farmer?
Question 2. What is your absolute ideal summer drink? Drop the recipes in the comments because we need to aggressively expand our cocktail menu for this summer manifestation journey.
Question 3. Which of these final couples do you trust the least? Like, who is definitively ghosting after the harvest season ends?
And question 4. Are cottage weekends actually relaxing, or are they emotionally dangerous environments that threaten family peace? We need to know if we are the only ones suffering in the Airbnb trenches right now.
Let us know your thoughts, and please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast with your messiest bestie, the one who truly understands the psychological warfare of the family group chat.
Yes. Share it with a friend who would also immediately call an Uber if a man tried to blindfold them with cake. We need to grow the squad.
And before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We spent this entire time judging these farmers for relying on forced, manufactured intimacy like Tantric yoga to find a wife. But aren't we doing the exact same thing with our dating apps?
No, wait.
Swiping on a highly curated, artificial profile and expecting to find a soulmate connection over a 45-minute coffee date. Isn't that just our modern version of Tantric yoga in a barn?
Yeah.
Are we the delusional romantics?
Oh my gosh, you just completely reframed my entire dating life. I have to go think about that immediately. So as you head back out into your week, dealing with your own texts, your jobs, or your dating test, just remember the wisdom of the farm. Stay messy, stay delusional, and we will see you on the Snark side.